Hey everybody, we're back. Hopefully this episode, promise that recording issues are fixed. I'm 90% sure. So yeah, uh, yeah. So we getting back into another episode of the Minecraft Saga, hosted by yours truly, Andrew Davis, aka Karen. Yeah. So. Yeah. Okay, still no music, and I didn't feel like switching the stuff. So yeah, okay. And we're back. So last time we went, got the bed, and we can bounce in the bed because I don't remember whichever update gave the bouncy beds was. I mean, not the bounce, the change in color, which I actually kind of hate, but that gave the bouncy beds. So I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna do this. I probably should, like, tomorrow go just, like, clear out another island of its trees, or clear out some trees so I can get this bridge finished. But, but, we're gonna go back to mining, and I'm gonna drop off all the crap that I have in my inventory now. So, yeah, this can go here, this can go here, this can go here, and here, and here. And I don't need all this crap. I need another chest. Preferably, actually, chests. Okay. So I did not come back with uh, the thingamabobs, thingamajigs, animimals. I came back with no animimals. That's the word I was looking for. Don't ask me why it took me so long to get to that word, but it did. But now, I'm gonna go back to mining and diamond hunting. So that's kind of been. We have yet to find diamonds, and this is episode 5. Um, and yeah, I want diamonds. So, diamond hunting we go. So, I need some water because I've been going at this for 2 hours pretty much non-stop. Well, we were a little bit late, but. And this episode might go a little bit long to accommodate the fact that we're only getting 3 episodes out of the night instead of 4. So, I might let this go like 45 minutes. Seems to go so fast. But yeah, uh, I know that uh, it's definitely been a day and a week, and it is Thanksgiving, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. Cause I got plans at least on Saturday, and I got plans probably on Thursday. Don't know what my plans are all gonna be on Thursday, but probably some of doing homework and stuff that I'm neglecting when I do stuff like this, because you know this is more fun, and also because I need a break from homework and stuff. And yeah, it'll be part of what I do on Thanksgiving, and hopefully I can do this on Thanksgiving as well. It's not like I got a huge ton of homework. I just gotta do a little bit for university. Uni, as some people call it. But yeah, going to college. I'm going to college. Okay, got some redstone. So, I want everyone who is either in chat or in the comments to right now make a guess at whether, before I end the stream slash this episode, whether we will find diamonds. I think there's a possibility. I think I could. I very well could. Uh, I'm gonna say that I probably won't though. Like I think there's a possibility, but I honestly, my luck has been crap with finding stuff. So I'm gonna mine this episode out, and if we don't get any diamonds, sucks. But it's not like honestly I need diamonds at the moment. Well, I kind of do because it's kind of like blocking my progression. But then again, I could also go and instead build a house. Get a house from them. While advancements are my goal, I do need a house. I do need stuff. And there are things that I'm obviously getting pretty good with. You know, I'm getting redstone. I've got a fair supply of iron, at least iron ore. I would love some more, but that's gonna require some finding. And again, that thing about my luck lately. It's been weird. Stream kind of has proven that it's been a little odd and a little rough in some patches. But hopefully it'll be still some cool and some good. And yeah. I'm also curious kind of how people feel about this setup. Whether you like the way that everything's looking, whether you don't like it. I hope there's enough light and I am properly visible. I've got oh, 3 different lights right now, and I do have a 4th one if I should need it. Well, I actually have like 4th, 5th, and 6th because there's a whole bunch of lights that we use in this room when we play D&D that I'm not using right now because I don't need to. I also have a cool light that I haven't gotten to use for D&D yet. It's got some cool effect. It's a cool little. It's more of a light bulb. It's a cool light bulb. And hopefully that will get. I don't know when I'll use that because it's mood lighting, but this could be fun. And I'm kind of curious. Also, kind of like a really random curiosity is how many people who watch this actually watch the Dungeons and Dragons game that we have, and what are your thoughts on it? Especially if you come to this first and then go to see that. The first episode's a little rough. We had some technical difficulties, and we have had uh, our share of technical difficulties and lost audio. In the first episode, we have had some streams that went entirely down, and it's been fun. Figure that all out and what was going on. Now, most of that's behind us. Obviously, I'm having issues with recording this. I don't know why. I honestly think it's because I accidentally hit something in settings in the recording encoder, and that screwed some stuff up because I just did a 5-second test record prior to this, and it worked fine when I changed settings back to normal. Or what I assume works. I'm hoping that it's not just because I'm recording for half an hour, it's being stupid right now. but that's neither here nor there. Technical difficulties are part of how this is. Um, so the thing is I do enjoy streaming. Uh, obviously, like I enjoy it. Broken Cameron enjoys it, and he's gonna try and do some stuff. He does a little bit different speed than I do, usually with his personal streams. Uh, but you know, to each their own. I actually like his streams. It's just different. Uh, and when I stream with him, we find a rhythm that's even different than us individually. You really can't compare. That would have also been stupid to die to. But there was a chance that I would have just died to some gravel. Uh, but yeah, and we're trying to get some more streaming going, um, because we like it. We do enjoy it. Like, honestly, it'd be really cool to like become a partner on Twitch and all that. But even if none of that ever happens, and we still get like a very small viewership and hopefully kind of this little tight knit community that seems to be firming on starting. That's fine to me. Streaming's fun. Same with YouTube. It's fun because it's kind of this stretch of your mental muscles in a different way, and it makes you do things you wouldn't normally do, and not like in a bad way. It's very much in a good way. You have to be out there. You got to put yourself out there, and what happens happens. If you decide to be one way, it's the way you are. You can't really change anything. It it is what it is. And so it's just one of those things where you get to kind of show yourself off in some ways, and then I'm screwing this up. Okay, there we go. That's what I've been trying to do, is place that torch. Uh, so yeah, it's fun. Not everyone probably sees streaming that way. I do though. It's weird because, and I know this is probably like super common among game streamers, but I'm not I'm not unsociable, but I'm not a social person. There are places, and some people who might be watching this that are friends of mine know those places where I'm super comfortable, and I'm super comfortable being the social person in the room, being the center of attention. But then there are other places that, if you know me well enough, you know that I'm not comfortable in being that person. So you kind of see the recluse. And when I streaming has very much become one of those places where I'm fine being open and being open about doing stuff like this. And if I were to, for, you know, say go on and people would notice me, I don't think I'd have a problem because it's in the setting. It's still in the setting, in the mindset that I'm live streaming, and the fact that someone would come up to me would be really cool. I don't expect that. I'm not particularly great at this. Honestly, I'm kind of just average. You know, I'm no C Nanders, I'm no Markiplier, I'm no Captain Sparkles. I'm me. I don't want to be any of those people. Mark's fun. He's probably my favorite. Never really been a big Teenagers fan. Never been big into probably quite a few YouTubers, but I watch Mark, watch Captain Sparkles, and everyone who's got their little bit of different rhythms. And the thing is, what I've noticed from them is I don't care to see them be somebody else. That's not what this is about. If someone were to come into the stream and say, you should do, you're you need some more stuff into this. You need to, do horror games like Markiplier. Not saying that I will never do horror games, but I'm not here to be what someone's asking me to be. I'm here because okay, dang. Oh wow. Okay, so that's why this is the way it is. I'm like, why is this just seem to go on forever? Because we managed like two big veins of redstone right on top of each other. Okay. Nope. Okay, so yeah, it's so I'm gonna very much keep this to being still how I think that I should run this channel. Obviously when Broken does his stuff. To some extent, he's gonna do what he wants. There's obviously some guidelines I put with how I want the channel run, and it's guidelines that we both agreed upon. Like, and it's some of it's just kind of silly little stuff. How we want to act and how what we want to put out there. When we first decided that we were going to use our real names on stream, which really wasn't a big, huge decision when we finally came to it. It was just what it was. Because it made more sense when we were doing uh, D&D that we used our own names. And so we just kind of went with that. But, that prior to then, it had always been a big deal. And we'd always followed that rule. Normally when I stream, if he's streaming with me, curb your language just because I would prefer to be family friendly or I try to be as family friendly oriented as I can. Um, Cameron's not so much that way, and it's not necessarily like he's the worst person that you could possibly meet with on his normal terms. No, but he swears. It's pretty common. I'll do it on occasion even, but it's pretty regular for him. So just I ask that sometimes he curb that. And obviously, if he streams on this channel, I don't. If he swears, he's swearing, and he doesn't stream on this channel. He streams on his own, which will be hosted here. Uh, and the thing about that is his channel's mature and rated that way because it's he even some of the games that he'll play may not necessarily be meant for children. For me, I think most games you can get away with for kids. I grew up playing games like Diablo, so and I don't think there's any big deal about it. Now, I realize everyone has their opinion on that, and I'm not really gonna get into a debate of like there are games that I don't think kids should have, and where I draw that line is the personal choice. But I also think that there there are quite a few games that people are silly about. But that's also based on what you want kids to be exposed to. And really, guys, I would love to find some diamonds. I've found lapis, I've found redstone, I've found gold, I have found everything else. But in this entire tunnel, 0 diamonds. It might just be that when I'm recording, it's a weird kind of sense of time passing. Because I'm very hyper aware of time passing, because I'm also realizing this tunnel's kind of short for my normal strip mines. Because I normally just go ham. And I'll do this for like 3 or 4 hours at a time. And it is what it is. So I might just be like super conscious right now of the fact that I've not found diamonds in a sitting. But that might just be because the fact that my sittings aren't quite as long as they normally are. I ran out of stuff. I think 2 more should be good, because after 2 more, we'll probably be out of space. Okay, so yeah. But weirdly getting back to, content on this, on our YouTube channel and everything. And I will also say, if you want to look up Broken Zelza and just kind of everything, ROKENZELZA. That's all Cameron's stuff. He's got his own YouTube channel. He's got his own everything. Obviously, he helps out around this channel and stuff, and for this channel to go places because of D&D and all that stuff, he's very much involved in that. But he kind of contains himself to his channel first and is worrying about that for right now. Again, he won't really get into streaming though until he gets his computer upgraded, which is his first order of business right now. And I can't wait for that to happen, because there's been like games that I've wanted to play with him. He's not done a big upgrade in a while. Last upgrade he got and he got a really nice one when he did. It wasn't that long ago. He got a really nice graphics card. Problem is he's got a really kind of crummy processor at this point, and so he's really needed to upgrade that processor for some time to get into a lot of what I'd consider good games. He could play like Minecraft with us, and I'm not saying that Minecraft isn't a good game. I like Minecraft. I wouldn't be playing it if I didn't enjoy it. But it's not technically demanding of your system. It demands some amount of your computer, but it's not like super hard. A lot of machines can run Minecraft just on different settings, but there are like the big one that he's wanting to play is like PUBG, which I enjoy. PUBG, good game of PUBG. If you don't know what I'm talking about, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Think of, if you're a big Minecraft fan, you're probably thinking of Hunger Games, basically Hunger Games. In case you've somehow missed it, I think most everybody that I know has played it at some point on YouTube. But and that will probably be something that we'll play, because I've played, I bought it, played it, and it's a lot of fun. It took a style of game that had been talked about and kind of played around with, and just did it so well. It's frustrating on some aspects, but the frustrating part about it is what ultimately kind of makes it almost a horror experience. Because honestly, and it's a really cool thing if you can manage. There's an extra credits video on it, and I'm gonna throw a shout out to extra credits because extra credits is great. You should definitely check them out. They've got a YouTube channel, um, and they showcase a whole bunch of video game stuff. But they have an episode on PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, and they talk about the horror that's involved in it because PlayerUnknown's Battleground, when you really think about it, you're really only in action for very short periods of time, and games can last like 40 minutes a piece. And most of that, you're not fighting, but you're still intrigued. So it's really cool what they talk about there, and I don't kind of want to take that away from them because they're super cool and fun people. You also want to go see them do some gameplay stuff, especially if you're into Dark Souls, which I may do some Dark Souling here on this channel eventually, but I don't know what I will do with that because I'm tempted, but uh, it doesn't really fall in. It's obviously not with the Minecraft Saga and the other thing that I have planned in my head that will be going on. Unfortunately, Dark Souls, while this other series is going to be a myriad of games, and Dark Souls doesn't quite fit. I kind of upset about that. I may still do it anyways. Don't know. May just kind of loop it in. I'm a big Dark Souls fan, uh, but I've honestly only beaten one of the games, so it's kind of this super big fan, but only beat Dark Souls 3. And that's not because like I've gone back and I've made significant progress now in the first game, and I'm like over halfway done with it. And I did that in a matter of days. Um, I just haven't sat down and played the first two again. Um, the first one I had a lot of trouble with when I first started, and I still don't. And given anyone's opinions on Dark Souls, Dark Souls 1 is not my favorite. Uh, and in my opinion, the games get better as the series goes on. Just one second. I need to click off something. Really fast that was. But as the games go on, in my opinion, they get better. They get um, more and more refined. As much as people didn't like the second game, I really enjoyed Dark Souls 2. I enjoyed it more than Dark Souls 1 because as much as Dark Souls 1, a lot of people, praise it as difficult but fair, there's parts of Dark Souls 1 that were, in my opinion, you can call them fair, but they were mean-spirited. And I'm not saying that, like, FromSoft was going out to make the player have a bad time. No. But they're just the situations are not great that they put you in. The biggest example I can give that's super early on in the game is the bell tower gargoyles. Uh, that fight is actually really, when you think about it, super unfair for as early as it is. Because it's very early into the game. It's the third boss you're going to be fighting off against in Dark Souls 1. And it's not even so much that it's a multiple opponent fight, which that alone is super rare in the Souls game. Uh, so multi-opponent fights. I know there's two in Dark Souls 1, and then I believe another two in Dark Souls 2. Dark Souls 3, you could say that there are two, three, three-ish. again, they do exist, but generally not quite so early. I think the best you can akin it to is, and I'll go with Dark Souls 3 because bosses in Dark Souls 2 are a little bit fuzzier with my memory. Uh, I know that there's the Ruined Sentinels and then there's the Bell Tower Gargoyles, and those are both optional bosses in 2. So I feel better to talk about 3, which has so you'd hit Gundyr probably closer to the third or fourth or possibly fifth boss, depending on ordering, because you can do them in a different order. But relatively close to third could be your third boss fight. Would be the Crystal Sage, which creates clones of itself, which very much mimics a multi-enemy fight. The difference between that and the Bell Tower Gargoyle is the Bell Tower Gargoyle is not just a multiple opponent, and they are multiple real opponents. Um, which kind of brings you closer to the Abyss Watchers. And they're still a little bit different because the Abyss Watchers aren't entirely always hostile. Because in the first phase, when you actually diamonds, so we found diamonds before this episode ended. Wanted to do that, but as I was saying before, I got distracted by diamonds, and there's gonna be those two right there. That's it, just those two. I'm telling you now. If there's not, I'll be super happy. Cool. I'm happy. That's a decent number of diamonds. Decent number of diamonds. Yeah. It's enough for an enchanting table and a diamond pickaxe. Don't know why I covered all of this back up. But anyways, as I was saying, with the Bell Tower Gargoyles and they're kind of what differentiates them in my mind from the Crystal Sages and the Abyss Watchers. The Abyss Watchers, the big thing is the Abyss Watchers aren't entirely hostile, so you do get help in the fight just by their very nature. And I know you can summon people for that fight, but in my opinion, Dark Souls really goads you into not summoning anyone, and that's kind of the cool point is when you can do it without summoning. So assuming that you're playing a solo run, so you don't have anyone to help you with, so it's 2v1. The fact that you get that extra help in the Abyss Watchers, and the Abyss Watchers is actually supposed to be a later fight. It's your first Lord of Cinder, It's not really supposed to be your third fight. It's actually really supposed to be your sixth fight. And I guess technically you could make the Crystal Sage also your sixth fight if you went through the entirety of the catacombs and fought High King Wolnir. That's his name is. I'm pretty sure. But I'm assuming you're going in what's considered the proper order. They can be the third or the fourth, depending on whether you fight the tree or not. But the Crystal Sages, first of all, when you hit the right one, they all disappear. And this isn't until the second stage of the fight. So which, all things considered, it's the second stage of the fight that the second gargoyle appears in. But my big problem with it is the fact that during that second stage, they don't leave a ton of openings, and probably the bigger thing which differentiates it from most every boss fight in Dark Souls 3 is the arena. In pretty much all Dark Souls 3 fights, it's almost impossible to fall out of the arena. Almost impossible. Um, there are a few exceptions. Well, and I'd still say they're almost impossible. They're not impossible, but they're pretty darn close. You know, you've got Gundyr, both Udex Gundyr and uh, when you meet him later in the Untinted Graves. That fighting ring you can fall out of, but you gotta really. It's a very small portion. As long as you're mildly aware of where you're going, you shouldn't fall off. Whereas in the Bell Tower Gargoyle, unless you're very careful, you're probably walking close to an edge. And with the knockback that they do and everything, it's very easy to get hit off. And I've lost more than one life to being knocked off. So that really bothers me. And kind of detracts from that portion of the game. The other really big thing, and with Dark Souls 1 kind of bosses in general, is there are a lot of bosses that it's very easy to get hung up on something. So you're just, and again, it's bad placement. Both of these come down to kind of how you can place yourself. But I don't think I should be, like, I should get punished for placing myself bad, but it shouldn't be a death. It's because that's, and it can be a momentary bad decision, and you die from it. Or sometimes it's not even a bad placement so much as bad timing. Again, if I got hit and killed, and it's because the boss one shots me, I'm really super okay with that. Um, and I'll kind of explain that in a second. Before we kind of finish up this episode. But you know, one of the biggest things that frustrated me was actually on the second boss in Dark Souls 1, the Taurus Demon. This has only happened to me a couple times. But you do the kind of the basic strategy for the Taurus Demon is to aggro him, run up. As soon as you can aggro him, you run your little butt back to the. Well, I just lost all that. But you run yourself back to the ladder, and then from the ladder, you make your way to. So you run up the ladder. From there, you can get your character a plunging attack. Rinse, repeat. You after you. And if you're curious, because you've not played the games and you're just kind of hearing me ramble about Dark Souls, the way that you rinse repeat is once you fall off of him, you kind of run away for a little bit, so you can, because otherwise he'll catch you, because he's a huge giant demon, giant goat demon. So what you gotta do is you gotta run away behind him, away from the ladder, get him to follow you, and then as soon as you find yourself far enough away, which is something that you gauge from kind of just knowing his swings and stuff, you then kind of dart back around and try to dodge under him and make it back to the ladder, go back up, all those sorts of things. Now, if you poorly time this, he can hit you off the ladder because you won't be high enough and he can swing and hit you, which is super fine in my opinion because you fall off the ladder and then you can run, rinse, repeat. My biggest problem was what has happened to me a couple times is when I fall just and because of the way he's standing, he pushes my character just off center from the ladder, so I'm stuck in the corner. You cannot access the ladder, and when he stands like that, you can't actually move. And you can't roll under him, you can't do anything. You just die. And that's kind of a bad feeling, um, in my opinion, because I didn't die because I necessarily I made one bad move, and now it was a slight timing mistake, and now I'm stuck because of a mechanic that doesn't let you run away. So, where in later games, a lot of the arenas are more rounded, and even when you look at the DLC for Dark Souls 1, Artorias of the Abyss, which I love, pretty much all the boss arenas are circular. In my opinion, those are some of my favorite bosses. My favorite to date, I think. Um, well, it's kind of a toss-up, but I'll go with this for right now. Is I've actually managed to Artorias. And mind you, I did this prior to getting through the full main game. I went I as soon as I could I did started working on the DLC. But the really cool thing about that fight, in my opinion, was I got thrashed. I got thrashed like a good 40, 50 times. More diamonds. I'm now rolling in diamonds. I'm so happy. So I'm glad I didn't end this yet. But the thing is Artorias is like super hard. There is he is super fast, and because I was playing a dex build, I was playing like pure dex. Speed was my best thing. The coolest way that I had made through certain bosses without getting hit. Because the thing was is I'd hit first and I would do enough damage, be fast enough to get out of all their attacks, that I could get in and out, in and out, in and out, all over the place. So in one-on-one combat, I was superb. So Artorias, you'd think, it'd be easy, but it kind of I noticed it first with the Sanctuary Guardian, which is also in kind of this nice circular arena. Artorias and the Sanctuary Garden, and kind of the theme of the Artorias DLC, they hit hard and they move fast. Um, so I got to this point where for all my skill and speed, Artorias was faster than I was, and so was the Sanctuary Garden. So they would manage to hit me. Sanctuary Garden, I could take 3 or 4 hits. Artorias, I could take 2. And then I was dead. I was out. Which in some way it sucked because I could take almost nothing, and if you got to his second phase where he would do this big power up, he'd kill me in one shot. But the thing is I still love that fight, because the thing is what it came down to, and it's where I'm actually gonna talk about probably real fast before I end this episode. The fight that I think kind of ties, in my opinion, for Artorias. But in the Artorias fight, it came down to timing. It came down to learning him. It wasn't based on anything in the environment. Nothing. I never felt cheated out of a death. I could show you exactly where I went wrong and the exact steps I needed to make it right. That was a cool feeling. And so when I beat him after those, 50 some tries, it was because I had become very methodical about how I was fighting him. I went through every step over and over and over again. So I was following him to a T and going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And that's really cool to me. That's what is the best thing about the Dark Souls combat system. And kind of brings me to the boss fight that I really love in Dark Souls 3 that probably compares to it is Dark Eater Midir. Um, that fight was so much fun because it was the same thing. I lost probably a good 20 times to him. Obviously, nowhere near as many times as I lost to uh, Artorias, but Artorias was just a different fight in my mind. Because Artorias was at a different time when I was playing the game. So I wasn't as good as I had become by the time I was fighting Midir. Um, and Midir was a lot of fun because he choreographed so well. Like you knew what he was doing once you learned his move set. And you could so it was about learning him well enough that you were always close enough to hurt him for every mistake he made. But you were far enough, away that you didn't get caught in the crossfire and take massive damage. Because he did so much damage. It's actually the point, because Danny plays Dark Souls 3. She's not played any, well, she's played a little bit of 1. I don't think she's played any of 2, but she doesn't own 1. So, but, you know, she she played the Havel slow character, but with great sword build, and she couldn't. She's still I don't think yet beat Midir because Midir is so counter to the way that she plays. So I love those where it makes you kind of have to take a moment to step back, and it's all about execution. That's to me what it should be about. So there's my little mini rant on Dark Souls. But we found diamonds. We found diamonds, and I do appreciate. We kind of ran a little long with this last episode, but I kind of gotta go now. So hope you guys have enjoyed it. It's been lots of fun, and I will see you guys maybe on Thursday. If you don't see me on Thursday, it will be Sunday next time that we are streaming. Um, and my goal is to kind of make this a regular thing with Minecraft on Tuesdays, Thursdays being a series called From the Wayside, and I'll explain what that is when we start that series up. And if I, and this is going to be this semester schedule. I probably shift a little bit to Mondays and Wednesdays on next semester schedule, and I may do it earlier in the day. I may do it at different times. I don't know yet. It's all up in the air. I've got to kind of plan out my schedule a little bit and decide what I'm doing. But that's the days that currently work well for me. And if this gets going and this picks up, we'll have lots of fun. But as for the people on YouTube, I'm gonna say see you guys next time. It's been lots of fun. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed, and if you have, uh, if you could subscribe to the YouTube channel. Obviously, if you're on Twitch, please follow us. And that'll be fun. So yeah, see you guys. Bye.